snap, it's crackle, what a happy sound. You gotta have a crackle or the clock's not bound. You may get snap, and stereo slap, but snap, crackle, pop makes the world go round.
What's up, guys? Back. And today on the old workbench, we've got a bit of a different one, actually. This one's kind of a weird one. Customer got in touch with me and basically has been having some issues with the fan. And basically what the issues are is our two machine screws that go into either side here are extremely loose to the point where they don't tighten the fan. And you can see this one can literally it'll drop right through the board. So somebody obviously tried to, this one's not as bad, probably wheeled the wrong plastic screw through there, realized it was the wrong screw, but damage has been done, so it's chewed out the actual threads in the metal frame. And they want it fixed. I told them, like, it's not super critical, you've got two other screws. I have a feeling what's going on is it's creating some vibrations. The warranty sticker was not on this, and it does look quite clean inside, so I believe they took it apart to clean it, and upon reinstallation it didn't go so well. So what am I gonna do? So the first thing we're gonna do is I've already kind of started taking the top off. This plate always messes with the ISO of my camera, so if I just do that, it seems to make it better. So I've got it kind of down, just kind of starting to take it apart. I'm gonna get the cables out of the way. I'll take the screws out, and we'll kind of go from there. So it's kind of gonna be a bit of a touch and go. I've got an idea of what I'm gonna do here to get this working again, or at least put some new threads in there so that they can at least tighten up the fan. So, you know, maybe it's making noise, maybe it's vibrating, I don't know. I do know they have it mounted vertically, so the reason I know that is because it's on an actual stand. So, you know, this could go either way, but I do believe I have a method of repairing this, which most people have never seen before, I'm sure, because this is a bit of a strange one. It's a bit of a weird one. The console is working fine. There are no issues with the console whatsoever, but the fan just doesn't mount properly. So first things first, let's get rid of all these screws. I'm going to speed cut through this. You guys have seen this a billion times. Just going to remove the whatever 40 odd screws that hold this top plate on. I'm going to get the plate off and the motherboard off so that I can expose just the metal, and then I'm going to work on the metal frame underneath and see if we can get some new pieces cut there, and hopefully we have a happy customer. The two areas, or the two screws we need to deal with are these ones here. If we come in a little bit here. So it's, if we line up the fan where it would normally be sitting, and we have basically this guy and this guy are the two that are toast in a sense. So what are we gonna do? What are we going to do? How are we going to fix this possibly? Well, one of the main things that you guys see me do on this channel a lot is obviously fix boards and soldering and all that kind of stuff. However, I do have a lot of other experience in different other types of fields. One that introduces me to different types of products, one of them being JB WELD. If you're not familiar with JB WELD, it is a metal-based epoxy. It allows you to stick metal back together to a certain point. Of course, all glues have a limitation. They are definitely not miracles, but a lot of times you can kind of get things fixed up. So what my plan is I am going to fill these holes with JB WELD, the two that are oblong. Once they're full, I'm going to let it dry, obviously, until it gets rock hard. Once it's rock hard, I am going to flatten this off with my Dremel tool. And then I actually have a, whatever that thread is. I think that's an M3 thread. Maybe an M4. I can't remember. Anyways, I'll figure that out later. But basically, I've got taps that I can use. So I'm going to glue it, drill it, tap it, and hopefully that's all it's going to take. So our first step is to mix up a little bit of epoxy. We do not need a whole lot here. A little goes a long way. I'm just going to mix this a little bit. Have a nice dark gray kind of epoxy to work with here. The big part about mixing epoxy is the couple things you need to kind of pay attention to is you want to make sure you fully mix two parts of epoxy together. But the other part that a lot of people don't realize is air bubbles and what they do to the strength of glue. So this really comes down to how you're kind of moving the epoxy around and mix it. I like to kind of like spread mix, I guess you could call it, whereby I kind of just pick up portions of it and kind of spread it into itself, as you can see me doing here with the X-Acto blade. I don't know if this does anything, but I always have pretty good success with my epoxy mixing, so that's pretty much done right there. And yeah, this isn't going to take a whole lot, and I'm going to come back on the video here because this is going to have to dry. But this should allow us to fill these holes sufficiently, because we definitely want epoxy to get in there and fill that hole completely. So I'm actually getting some on the tip, and then I'm kind of like, oh, that's way too much. I don't need that much. Just kind of like getting it around the hole and then pushing it into the hole. Doesn't matter how even it is right now, because I'm going to, like I said, I'm gonna eventually, this is gonna get a grinder on it. So but you definitely want to make sure that hole is totally full. A little bit extra is not a bad thing here. You can always grind it down. Okay, that should be it. Just like so. Okay, perfect. Okay, so now that we got the epoxy mounted there, I'm just going to leave it alone. I'm going to let that dry. And once it's dry, we can continue with the next step here, where I sand that down, and then I'm going to drill and tap that with some new threads. Okay, here we go with the drilling and tapping portion. Drilling is done, of course. We're on to the tapping. This tap that I have is a 1.9 millimeter tap that I'm going to use to recreate the threads with. So just sit back, watch me struggle with trying to get this straight. This is very difficult to do at this scale because everything is so tiny, and just the slightest movement will create a problem with you actually cutting threads. So I was able to get them cut in here, and everything was successful. So let's watch and see how it goes. Okay, so here we go, putting the last final pieces back together on here. Nothing too interesting to show here outside of the screws actually do thread into the console now, and that did work fairly well. Just remember, this is pretty tedious to do. Make sure you clean up while you're working, and if this happens to you, you now know how to fix. Thanks for watching, guys. I will see you on the next one, and like, subscribe. Peace.